I found my boyfriend was cheating but didn't tell him I knew for 7 months. Hey Waffle Gang. I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from the True Off My Chest subreddit, saying from I throw em away, and says I've male 23 found out 7 months ago that my boyfriend male 26 has been cheating on me, but I haven't told him I know. I found out while he was away for work. A girl he slept with sent me a DM on Instagram. She told me everything and even sent pictures. I remember staring at my screen, my heart pounding, my hands shaking. I felt like my entire world had just shattered. I didn't even respond. I just sat there, drowning in pain. I finally understood what he meant to have a dagger to the heart. Anyways, I made a decision I wouldn't confront him. Instead, I grieved and mourned our relationship like it had already died. I'd been with him for 3 years. I thought everything was going perfect. I didn't see this coming at all. That entire week, I was alone, cycling through every emotion imaginable. This might sound crazy, but there was a part of me that almost needed to feel the pain. Like I was clinging to it, letting it consume me. This may sound emo, but it felt good. I can't explain it, but I felt alive. Maybe this is borderline masochistic, but whatever. This is how I wanted to cope. Meanwhile, the girl kept messaging me. More pictures, more details, receipts, lol, and even videos. It just got worse and worse until it turned into taunts and cursing. It felt like she was desperate for us to break up, but I never responded. Instead, I kept reading her messages over and over, torturing myself with the truth until at some point, it didn't hurt anymore and I started to feel numb. He was still himself. Sweet and caring and affectionate. Like honestly, I wouldn't have suspected a thing if that girl didn't DM me. He would sometimes catch on I'm acting off and I'd blame my hormones or stress from work and he would buy it. I pretended everything was fine and he would have noticed something was deeply wrong if he wasn't busy cheating. I think it also helped we got along very well as roommates and friends. We were still having sex. He was a generous lover. Too generous even, and it helped bear with it all. I lied saying my implant fell out, so we began using condoms and I got myself tested regularly. Thankfully, I was clean the whole time. I started seeing him as someone I lived with and we just happened to have sex. It took months, but one day something inside me shifted. Like the love I had for him started fading. I went through every stage of grief. Now I feel free and lighter. I know I can live without him, and that realization is the most liberating feeling. This is the craziest part. Everything I once found beautiful about him started to look distorted. I started to see his flaws. It was like I was under a spell, adoring and loving this man, and now I look at him and like how. This week I'm moving into my own place and I'm finally breaking up with him. I'm mentally checked out and I'm at peace with myself. I'm okay. I feel a sense of dread but also relief that I will finally break up with him. It took 7 months to finally get over him. I don't know if I'll tell him that I know he cheated on me or just say I don't want you anymore or just ghost him. All I know is I'm breaking up with him. Wow, it's hard to imagine someone doing that. Staying in this relationship for 7 months whilst knowing he's cheating. I can understand why you would have done this at the same time, grieving the relationship while still in it and just dealing with it that was in the best way for you at the time. It took a while, sure, but you got there, and for the way that you deal with it now, it would be totally up to you. Petty me would want him to know the full truth in some horrible way, but I know life's not always like that. But medium-sized Maze says you should absolutely tell him you know he cheated. He shouldn't be absolved. Ghost him and leave the screenshots, but at least let him know that you know he's a piece of shit. I hope he says I have a private folder on my phone with everything I saved. I was just using it to keep my feelings in check. This is a good idea. Akimbo Slice 1 says at first I thought you went about it wrong, but you took your time to build your strength and heal. I guess we each have our own journey. That being said, please ghost him and give him no closure. That will mentally mess him up for his betrayal for years to come. AP says my initial goal wasn't to heal but to feel. I didn't know what I was doing. I ended up healing anyway and I'm glad it worked out. If I ghosted it would definitely mess him up. Besides the relationship, we were best friends. Strike Excellence says this is what my psychologist recommends. Feel it and then let it go. I also think that ghosting is the way to go. If you tell him that you know about the cheating, he will get better at hiding it from the next girl or even blame it on the girl who DM'd you. Ghosting without an explanation will make it easier for you. You don't need to explain. You don't need to waste your time listening to how he would change or that it was a mistake, etc. If you don't give him a reason that he can challenge, it will be better for you. You did the work. You deserve your peace. You owe him nothing. He deserves nothing from you. The opposite of love is indifference. Good for you. By the way, well done, AP. AP says I've been dealing with this alone for so long, mentally sitting through my thoughts, feeling the pain so deeply. It was therapeutic. I was at rock bottom for a while and the only way out was up. I am mentally in a better place. I'm starting to enjoy the little things again. I can finally breathe. The way I dealt with this was definitely unconventional. Thankfully I now do feel indifferent. I'm free. And thank you for your kind words. I do deserve peace. Sir AP did come back into the post with her update and says I finally moved out in the early morning right after he left for work. It was his place and I didn't have much to begin with, so the move was easy. I've been slowly fitting up my new place over the past month, getting everything ready so I could leave without a hassle. A lot of you suggested I ghost him, but I couldn't. That's just not me. I don't like disappearing on people even when they deserve it. So instead I came back that evening and waited for him to get home from work around 7 p.m. I was nervous but also kind of relieved for it all to finally be over. When he walked in I was sitting at the dining table wearing my coat. He immediately sensed something was off. He asked me where I was going and I told him home. He laughed and said, "But you are home." Clearly trying to play it off, but he could tell something was up. Then I sent everything I've been collecting, screenshots, videos, all of it, to his WhatsApp. He looked confused and asked why I was texting him. And then he opened the messages. I watched the color drain from his face. I didn't think I'd enjoy it, but I did. He went pale, breathing heavily, and just placed his phone on the table staring at me like I was a ghost. I didn't say anything, just watching him. Then came the begging. He grabbed my hand, apologizing over and over, and said he didn't mean to cheat, claimed he ended it 3 months ago, that she meant nothing, and how much he loves me and wants to marry me. I told him we're never getting married. It's over. And I didn't say anything else. That's when he broke down crying like a child. I was honestly disgusted. I stood there watching him on his knees, clutching my legs, begging for forgiveness. And I felt nothing. No sympathy. No sadness. Just done. I was completely checked out. I didn't want to say much to him. I just felt numb and it felt pointless. Eventually he turned into this emotional, sweaty, sobbing mess. When he went to the bathroom I grabbed my last backpack and left. It's finally over. I'm grateful I don't love him anymore. It was an unconventional way to get over someone, but it worked for me. Thank you all for the kind messages. Edit: he texted me from a new number and sending me pathetic messages I posted on my profile. Text message said, "I'm sorry for cheating on you. Please call me. I miss you already. I didn't know she found you and texted you those videos. I am sorry, truly. I can't live without you. I love you so much. Please pick up the phone. You know you love me. You can't give up on us. You can't let this break us. I fucked up. I'm sorry. Please just talk to me. I can't breathe without you here. I swear, please don't do this to me. Our home feels so empty without you. Please call me. I'll do anything for you, baby. Please just let me talk to you. You're breaking my heart, baby. Please, please call me. I'm going crazy. Please, please, please." And the top commenters on this one said, "That's really brave of you to actually do something about it and leave. But nobody deserves to be cheated on. That is the worst feeling. That kind of betrayal hurts deep. So I hope that you move on and find somebody that will be loyal to you. Good luck on your endeavors." Marmalade says, "Thanks for the follow-up. I'm impressed that you not only followed through but that your response was measured, restrained, and decisive. You're better off without him. Don't look back." The last word says, "I hate it when they say she or he meant nothing to me. In reality, the one you cheated on and hurt meant nothing to you." And last one from Suspicious Fan and says, "And not only he cheated for months since he ended it 3 months ago. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? And let's move on to another story." Our next story is from the Am I Overreacting subreddit from Emily, who says, "Am I overreacting for insisting my friend board her dog? I agreed to take care of my coworker's friend's older dog 10 years while she was on vacation for the week. I originally thought I'd be checking up on her before or after work, walking her, feeding her, the typical dog watching duties. She paid me $200 for the whole week, which is about $28 a day. I charge about 26 to 20 minutes dropping cat sitting visits through Meowtel, which I'm assuming is some sort of cat sitting app. So I thought it was fair initially. She left me 8 pages front and back of instructions for a dog, wants me to stay overnight with her and pick her up to put her in the bed with me. I freaked out when I told her I had plans for my day off and would be leaving her for a few hours. While I was at work yesterday, she pulled the trim off the door, chewed some of the paint from around the handles and started to chew on the drywall. The fuck? Today when I got back from work, she had started to eat and rip out insulation, chewed up and ripped out even more drywall and started to chew through an electrical wire. She's in another country 8 hours ahead, but would I be overreacting if I insisted she board her dog for the remainder of her trip? I cannot put my life on hold to supervise her pup 24/7, and above that I can't stand the thought of a dog getting seriously injured or causing any more property damage. What do I say? How do I proceed? I don't have the PTO to call off of work, and I'm certainly not getting paid fairly for the extent of this dog-sitting situation. And then OP does add some pictures. I know the podcast users won't be able to see it, but I tried to explain it. So picture 1 was day after work, and holy damn, just like the picture in itself is a door with like half the frame missing from it. Like literally ripped from the— how would a dog do that? Ripped from the wall and on the floor, and nails sticking up, which is dangerous for the dog in itself. And the next picture was showing the paint damage around the locks, it looks all scratched up and stuff. Day 2, and holy shit, there's like massive chunk of drywall literally missing from where the frame was pulled out the previous day. Like a huge chunk of drywall, and you can see the insulation behind it, and it's all over the floor. Next picture is a close-up of the electrical wire with blood on it says in the picture, and obviously chewing through an electrical wire. Also a chunk of insulation missing, which might be suspected that it's been eaten. And then a picture of the dog itself just sat there looking all innocent. But Boysenberry comes into this and is not overreacting. I assume somewhere in those 8 pages of instruction she left you her vet's phone number. Call and find out the vet boards dogs, and let the owner know that she can either choose a boarding place herself and book the dog in today. Hire a full-time dog sitter starting no later than tomorrow morning. She doesn't have to leave the house at all, or you'll be dropping the dog off at a vet for boarding and explaining the situation to them before the next time you have to leave the house in order to avoid becoming responsible for the death of her pet. Question: did the instructions she left include stating the dog has severe separation anxiety and can never be left alone? Opie says no vet info surprisingly, and no, the instructions did not specify that either. Seats 5 says Opie, I originally responded this to someone else, but I want to make sure you see it in case no one else has given this advice. I'd be absolutely floored if coworker doesn't come back and blame Opie for the whole situation. The friendship is probably blown anyway, in my opinion. Coworker is very, very likely to resent that Opie didn't prevent this damage, even though that wasn't remotely feasible. Opie needs to document the shit out of everything in case her coworker sues. Pictures of all texts, copies of the instructions, timestamp pictures of everything damaged, documentation of her schedule at the time, proofs of attempt to contact coworker, pictures of no crate in the house, documentation of what was agreed to, what Opie was paid, and maybe even what in-home overnight pet sitting would typically cost in the area. If, as I suspect, $28 a day is strong evidence, Opie was not expected to be there 24/7. Sit down and write out ASAP any non-recorded conversation and when it was had. The last one isn't strong evidence but isn't worthless. Alan Trebek says, oh my. Well, this is a pretty bad miscommunication. When did you realize she expected you to stay overnight? That seems like a pretty big thing to miss. If she didn't tell you how anxious her dog is up front, I'd say not overreacting, poor pup. Maybe they can refill some anxiety meds for doggo as a short-term fix if you can't get them into a kennel. Opie said the first evening I got in to check on the dog was when she left the instructions. When we met him on other things, it seemed like basic dog sitting. I was originally fine with the idea of staying over because she's much closer to our job, but this has just escalated into something unreal. Her mom didn't tell me she was this anxious, just that she would miss her mama. Intrepid Fondant says don't wait to send a photo or fill her in. Her stress will turn this around on you. So get ahead of it and at least inform her ASAP what's going on, even if she can't do anything about it from a distance. Opie said I let her know about the damages immediately yesterday and today. I tried to call her but it was 2 a.m. where she was at. I made sure to tell her to call me back. It was very urgent and could not wait any longer than necessary. Umbrella Crab says did you send photos or just tell her? Opie says photos sent. Her initial reaction was it's pretty bad. My brother-in-law can fix it. I just have to pay him for the parts. I'm sorry. I feel so bad you have to deal with this. Fingered again says the insulation on the wires appears to be compromised. That is an electrocution and fire hazard. It is not safe to leave the dog there alone. This is not a good situation. So Opie did come back in a few hours later and says I finally got in contact with the dog's owner after 4 to 5 hours of no response. Her initial reaction was to tell me to put a cone on her dog while I was at work and to not leave her unsupervised unless I was working. I let her know that would not be happening. The dog was extremely stressed, and if she was left unattended, she could consume hazardous materials and possibly die. I told her I could not watch the dog 24/7 until she returned, and told her that either family or the vets need to take her until the trip is over and the wall can be repaired. She showed the photos I sent to her mom and sister who were there in the hotel room with her, who all chimed in agreement with me. That was a serious hazard. The dog could die. It's a wonder she didn't burn the place down, etc. Her mom said she knew an electrician and her husband wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. I told her I'd have to look through the cabinets to find her vet's information. Called them and then called their emergency vet partner to get some sort of guidance from a professional. She had me put her dog on camera for 10 minutes so she could talk to her. The dog was not amused and I was so tired of the baby talk. She kept calling her a brave little girl for mommy and I was over it. She thanked me so many times for going above and beyond for her precious baby pup cup and told me to keep the $200. I'll have to drop the dog off at the owner's uncle's house tomorrow at 11 a.m. but he will keep her until the vacation is over. She sent me a list of things she needs me to take with her, but at least I won't have to worry about the dog anymore. Thanks for all the support. This has genuinely been the worst pet sitting experience I've ever had, and I will not be doing it again for anyone ever again. Lowell says to this. As a past somewhat professional dog sitter, you did exactly what you could do with what little you had. Had a 3-month permanent living situation that went much worse than this. I wish I had learned much faster than you did. Good luck out there, and don't let this deter you from pet sitting again, but maybe stick to cats. Much easier, lol. Opie says thank you so much. It will likely be a while before I consider this again, but I will be sticking to cats outside of my parents' dogs. I hate to hear that you also had such an awful time before the 3-month situation, but I'm glad you made it through as well. Another commenter says I would have asked for more than $200 to be compensated because Jesus, this woman should not have a dog. Yasmin again says no, for real, Opie deserves a damn trophy and a nap. Big props to Opie for not just peacing out. Most people would have said not my circus, not my cone. Opie says you better believe I'll be taking the biggest nap after I drop her off with the uncle in a few hours. And like the commenter said, absolutely good on Opie for sticking around in that situation and doing what they can for the dog with the little that they had, absolutely, because can't help but feel sorry for that dog. That dog's innocent in this, the dog is clearly extremely stressed with the situation, and I'm just really pissed off at the owner in this situation as well. I don't believe for a second that she didn't know something like that was going to happen, but then has the cheek to turn around to Opie after all that damage was done to the wall, the wire, etc., turning around and saying, oh, keep the $200. I'm generous like that, it's like piss off, waste the rest of it. Holy moly, what do you guys make of this situation, that poor doggo? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me, so thank you so much for being here. Truly is absolutely amazing, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.